My name is Leo Kliot. I was born in 1929 in Vilna, Lithuania. When the war broke out, I was 10 years old. In 1941, the city was occupied by the Germans. The Lithuanian collaborators started taking able-bodied men to do forced labor. My father was one of them. We never saw him again. After the war, we found out they were taken out to the forest and shot. We were forced to move into the ghetto. We had to share one room with 11 people. We had very little food and were always hungry. Many people were taken out of the ghetto to work. My mother was one of them. She would take off the yellow star and go out to Christian neighbors to barter for some food. She would smuggle the food back into the ghetto. I used to wait for her, thinking that she might be caught by the police. And if they discovered that she was Jewish, that would mean death for sure. In 1942, a Christian friend of the family told us it might be safer to go to a small town. He made arrangements to take us there. As soon as we arrived in the town's ghetto, the Germans raided it, looking for Jews who didn't belong there. When we saw the Germans coming, we started to run into the deep snow toward the forest. A German soldier chased us and was shooting at us. We knew that we couldn't get away from him, so we surrendered. He took us back to the ghetto. There were 8 other people who tried to escape. The officer in charge started to beat us. We were then left with one soldier guarding us. It was very cold and we didn't have winter clothes. My mother asked the soldier if we could go and get some warm clothes. The soldier said, "You will not need any clothes anymore." We understood that this meant that we would be killed. My mother turned to me and said, "Run," but I refused to leave her. Sometimes later, the head officer returned and told the guard to let us go. The officer was probably paid off by the Jewish elders. We had to return to the Vilna ghetto. There we had to do hard labor outside the ghetto. One day in 1943, while we were at work, we got a note from my sister. She lived outside the ghetto as a Christian. The note implied that we shouldn't return to the ghetto. So we decided not to go back. As it turned out, the ghetto was liquidated the next day. We went to some Christian friends who hid us for a month. My sister found us a farm outside Vilna. The farmer happened to be a Nazi sympathizer. He was a cruel and mean man who made us work very hard. He knew the war was going badly for the Germans. They only agreed to take us so that when the war would be over, he could say that he had saved some Jews and avoid imprisonment. We were there for about 1 year, until we were liberated by the Russians in the summer of 1944.